Newt Gingrich. Here's a nightmare scenario of terrorist attacks. Vote for Trump. Cleveland, hide your kids, lock your doors, turn off all the lights and revert to fetal position on the floor of your basement. That's what you'll probably want to do after hearing Newt Gingrich's speech at the GOP convention on Wednesday night. The former Speaker of the House painted a disturbingly grim portrait of what will happen to America if we don't have a president, in this case, Donald Trump, ready to keep the nation safe from so-called Islamic State terrorists. If our enemies had their way, not a single woman in this room could define her future, Gingrich said. Not a single Jew or Christian in this room would be alive unless they agreed to submit. Gays, lesbians and transgender citizens would be put to death as they are today in the Islamic State and Iran. Every person on earth would be subject to conversion by the sword and to a cruel and violent system of laws. Think he's being dramatic? He's got lots of examples to prove that we're just one election away from collapse into a pit of hellfire. Remember the guy in Germany this week who used an axe and knives to slash and wound train passengers while shouting Allahu Akbar? Or last week, when ISIS claimed responsibility for a Tunisian man driving a cargo truck into a crowd in Nice, France, and killing 84 people. More than 300 people were killed in bombing attacks in Baghdad a couple of weeks ago. A couple weeks before that, a radicalized terrorist in Paris stalked a French police officer to his home, killed him and tortured his wife to death in front of their 3-year-old son. He was pondering whether to kill the 3-year-old when he was killed by police, Gingrich said. All this in just the past 37 days. Still reading? Sit up straight, because he's not done scaring the crap out of you. The danger is even worse than September 11th, when 19 hijackers murdered almost 3,000 Americans, Gingrich continued. No. The worst-case scenario is losing an American city to terrorists armed with weapons of mass destruction. Instead of losing 3,000 people in one morning, we could lose more than 300,000. Instead of losing 2 great buildings, we could lose block after block after block to a nuclear event. The solution to this is definitely not electing Hillary Clinton for president, he said. It's putting the billionaire real estate mogul in the White House. The cost of Hillary's dishonesty could be the loss of America as we know it, said Gingrich. Donald Trump won our party's nomination because he is willing to tell the truth about the things that matter most. He has a great running mate in Mike Pence. They will put our safety first, and they will defend America first.